Beyblade Series 1 is completely unhinged and I kind of love it. This year I discovered that all of Beyblade's original series is just chilling on YouTube, officially, legally. I thought about how much I enjoyed rediscovering my childhood love for Digimon these past few years, and with Beyblade just sitting there in front of me, I figured I'd let it rip. After watching through the first 2 arcs, I'm here to report that Beyblade isn't as good as I remembered. It's way better.
Stupid. You would always say, let it rip.
Beyblade is nuts. This is a sports anime in its structure, but also a monster battling series like Digimon, Pokemon, Monster Rancher. Sure, the monsters are trapped inside spinning tops, but every main character is partnered with a monster of their own that fights battles for them. Beyblade is absolutely one of those shows. It also may be the definitive case of an English dub just hamming it up. Everybody was too busy making fun of Digimon's dub or the 4Kids One Piece dub or Brock's Jelly Donuts to notice Beyblade going completely off the rails. Like, you remember Dizzy, the Bit Beast trapped inside Chief's laptop? Not a real character in the Japanese version. Yeah, the dub made her up. This is what you're probably used to seeing on Chief's laptop, and this is the exact same scene in the original. And she's not the only dub original creation, but we'll get to that in a bit. Let me be clear that this is not a takedown of Beyblade and its English dub, but rather a look back celebration of the charming absurdity of this series. The original show was kinda nuts regardless of language, but the English edition and its banger soundtrack is this millennial classic. Episode 1 of Series 1 starts with an all-timer of an opening line. Quote, "Eons ago, when the sport of Beyblading was young, powerful beasts roamed the earth." So right away I knew I was in for a treat with my rewatch. The voiceover goes on to talk about the old ways fading and how the beasts shall rise again. Then we meet Tyson and learn a bit about his life. He's training with his disco hip-hop grandpa who says things like "my man" and "capiche" and "ya dig" after every sentence. We meet what look like local bullies picking on Tyson, but we soon learn they just want to bay battle him because everybody in town knows he rules and they want to learn from the best. Tyson is meant to battle a similarly talented Beyblader that day, Andrew, who is the weirdest looking kid I've ever seen in anime, and I feel like the less I know about this character the better. Carlos, a shark who takes the Beyblades of everyone he beats, demolishes Andrew before Tyson arrives. There's this bizarre joke in the dub where Carlos starts laughing, is asked what's so funny, and he replies, quote, "It's probably just a nervous laugh I used to hide my insecurity." This is like abridged series humor in the official show. When Carlos exits the scene, the local kids unpack what just happened, and it's here that Tyson meets the Chief, Kenny, as well as Dizzy, the Bit Beast trapped inside the Chief's computer. Like I mentioned up top, she's a dub exclusive character, and any of these sort of Beyblade analyzer images you saw throughout the show, those were creations of the Western production. It's theorized that Dizzy was included to add a girl character to the show's all-boy main cast. Hillary wouldn't join the cast until the second series, so this theory strikes me as logical. The weird thing with Dizzy though is the fact that in the early episodes she's constantly flirting with the pre-teen cast of this show. One of her first lines is, quote, "When are you going to introduce me to your cute little friend?" in reference to Tyson. She also asks Chief, quote, "When are you and I going to have some alone time?" It's not good. Tyson challenges Carlos to a bay battle by the river to win back the stolen Beyblades. He defeats Carlos, which is when Carlos's boss and the coolest character in the series, Kai, makes his first appearance. He says, "I'm the leader of the Blade Sharks," and then seconds later, Chief gets that name wrong and says, "The Bay Sharks are the toughest." As far as I can tell, this is not like a bit or a joke where the character gets the name wrong to diffuse the tension, just a funny dub inconsistency. Episode 2 contains another amazing script inconsistency. In this episode, Andrew explains what Bit Beasts are to Tyson, even though in episode 1, Tyson responded to Dizzy's existence by saying, "You got a Bit Beast trapped inside your computer?" Here in episode 2, Tyson says, "What the heck is a Bit Beast anyway?" But also, Chief says, "I was meaning to introduce Dizzy to you," even though Tyson and Dizzy were introduced to each other in episode 1. Before we can think too much about it, we cut to Carlos getting the Beyblade equivalent of an execution. Kai announces that Carlos has embarrassed the Blade Sharks, who have never lost a match. Then 2 of Kai's goons pin down Carlos while 3 others launch their blades at Carlos and massacre his blade as he screams for mercy. This is ridiculous, and again, you can't say this is the dub being goofy because the source animation and the source scenario here are completely absurd as is. The Blade Sharks kidnap Chief in an effort to lure Tyson out to their warehouse, and it works. Only Tyson has now rebuilt his Beyblade with Dragoon's spirit inside. Kai's Dranzer and Tyson's Dragoon have their first of many legendary battles that ends in a draw. Kai escapes, Chief, Andrew, and Tyson go home, and Andrew kind of stops getting screen time from here on out, which is fine by me. I don't want to look at him. time. Episode 3 starts with a puppy that's fallen into the river being pulled downstream towards its demise. For some reason, this episode is ingrained in my mind like 20 years later. I still remember this episode so vividly. A new character, Max, does a trick shot with his Beyblade to move some logs that get the dog back on land. The guys befriend Max, who I think has a great English voice. It strikes me as very real from one of these English dubs. Beyblade cast real teens for the lead roles, and you can totally hear the authenticity. Also, apparently in the Japanese version, Max struggles with being half Japanese, half American, with most Japanese kids seeing him as foreign for his blonde hair and freckles. Tyson and Chief are the first people to befriend him, despite him looking like a foreigner, which is kind of sweet. Not really a thing in the dub though. Max takes the guys to his dad's hobby shop / house and shows them the gigantic practice ring in the basement. He says my favorite line yet, quote, "Would you believe it was here when we bought the place?" Which is so good. It would be easier to believe that Max's dad, who owns a hobby shop, would have had this installed, but the show is so insistent on selling kids on the idea that Beyblade is such a core part of this world that some buildings just have base stadiums in them when you move in. Tyson and Max have the equivalent of a Beyblade sparring match. We meet Mr. Dickinson, the chairman of the official Beyblading committee, the BBA, who encourages the boys to enter in the BBA regional qualifiers, kicking off the first of many tournament arcs in this beautiful series. It's here in episode 4 onwards that the show hams up the BBA segments like you're actually watching sports coverage. Whenever we're seeing footage from the tournaments, we get this BBA watermark in the bottom of the screen. I think this is legit hilarious and also kind of cool. We get the host DJ Jazzman, named Blader DJ in Japanese. No clue why they renamed him, but he's like Metabot's Mr. Referee. DJ Jazzman is not alone, mind you. We also get 2 Beyblade commentators, my boys AJ Topper and Brad Best. I'd show them on screen right now, but I can't because they're audio only characters. Not only that, they're dub only characters. The English production really committed to the bit of having the tournaments be like a legit sports broadcast by creating 2 sports commentators who are explaining what we're seeing on screen with puns and zingers any chance they get, because obviously this is an English dub. They're like those ESPN commentator guys from Dodgeball. They're exactly that. Tyson, Max, and Kai all advance, but we're also introduced to Mr. Dickinson's mysterious star child, Ray. He's here from China by special invite flown in by Mr. Dickinson. Our first serious match comes in episode 5 with Max versus Kai. We all know Max isn't going to win, but he puts up a hell of a fight. Prior to the fight, Max's dad gives him a pendant that belonged to his grandmother, which he wears into battle. After round 1, Max's blade flies out of the stadium and smashes the pendant, but out comes a bit beast, or a bit, you know what I mean. Quote, "I remember this from when I was very young. Grandma said it was a symbol of great power called Drasil." He clips the bit onto his green Beyblade and says, "This one's for you, Grandma." Ultimately, Kai takes it, but backstage they have this good moment where Max congratulates Kai, and Kai shows some respect back. Episode 6 is Tyson facing off against Ray. Ray shatters Tyson's blade in round 1, and unless he can fix it, Tyson has to forfeit. Kenny repairs it and adds a new defense ring with enough velocity to create a tornado. Tyson takes round 2, and although the score is 1-1, Ray abruptly forfeits, deciding there's no point in continuing since he really has no chance of beating Tyson, which is objectively false because he quite literally beat Tyson in round 1, but it's a cool little moment in this tournament arc. It's also here I should mention the show has a breakneck pace. I do not remember all of this originally taking place in 7 episodes, but on the other hand, I don't know how you could stretch out these Bey battles any longer than a single episode. So episode 7 starts and the finals take place in a cage match because of course they do. Tyson takes round 1 pretty easily, prompting Kai to take off his gauntlets. It's a full-on weighted training clothes moment like in Dragon Ball Z. He also tells Tyson, "You treat this like a game, but I choose to compete only for family honor, not for fun." Just wouldn't be anime without a rival motivated by family honor, Saiyan pride, you know, that whole thing. Kai of course takes round 2, tying things up for round 3. Here they do the thing that some anime will do where in like the series finale they play an instrumental version of the original theme song and you're reminded of how long and hard the journey has been, so you're overwhelmed with emotion. Here in episode 7, they absolutely did not earn the play the theme song inside the show moment, but I'm here for it and clearly the show is too. Tyson takes round 3, winning the tournament, and then without any of them being briefed or agreeing to this, Mr. Dickinson and DJ Jazzman announce in front of the entire audience and everyone watching at home that Max, Ray, Kai, and Tyson are the new official Japan team in the Beyblade World Championships. None of them have a real problem with this. I wouldn't either if I got to travel the world Beyblading. Kai is named the team captain, which I immediately know is going to be a very good dynamic. The first thing he says to the others as a team is, "I agreed to lead the team, but that doesn't mean we're going to be the best of chums now. I'm here for one reason, and that's to coach this team to victory at the World Championships." Then the Beyblade theme song plays inside the show again while Tyson, Max, and Ray pose on the podium. And that's the first arc, setting up the Asia tournament arc where we dive into Ray's past with the White Tigers. This Beyblade rewatch has been a genuine surprise and delight. The already absurd Japanese series was made even sillier by an English dub that is willing to laugh at itself and has committed led to this incredible ESPN Sports Network bit inventing new off-screen commentators to make that vision a reality. I found this interview with the cast, and the voice of Kenny said something I thought was legitimately a great point. Quote, "What I love about Beyblade is how it provides good action for children, but it doesn't contain a huge amount of violence like some other animated shows that are out there." Of course, I don't think the Digimon and Pokemon battles we were watching turned kids violent, but he's kind of got a point where watching through this in 2001 and again in 2024, my adrenaline was pumping and all that was really happening was two tops spinning. In that same interview featurette, Ray's actor says, quote, "It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, there are boys battling girls, girls battling boys, and it's all to do with your bit beast and your strategy, so it's not a physical thing. It's not the bully that's always going to win the fight, it's the little guys. Really the strategy that keeps you going." I do like this point that boys and girls and nerds and jocks can all battle in this world and meet on an even playing field. Unless your opponent has a bit beast and you don't, then there's absolutely nothing even about Beyblade. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with my return to Beyblade. I thought I discovered sports anime in the mid-2010s with stuff like Haikyuu and Yuri on Ice, but now I realize a love of sports anime and the sheer hype of tournament arcs was ingrained in me at a young age through Beyblade. The unhinged dub is a joy to poke fun at, and because the original show's premise is so absurd to begin with, there's really no argument about the dub jokes ruining the sanctity of the original Japanese show. It's spinning tops hitting each other and great big monsters popping out. I don't know about you, but I'm down to watch through the Asia arc, the America arc, seeing as the entire series has been up on YouTube on the official Beyblade channel for years. If you want to do this little book club thing where I cover a Beyblade arc every few weeks, definitely comment to let me know that you're interested in that kind of video. Subscribe if you enjoyed this. I know subscribing can be kind of pointless when YouTube just recommends the stuff you like to you anyways, but the next big milestone for this channel is 50,000 subscribers, and that would be unreal. Thanks for watching, have a great week, and until next time,
Let it rip.